I have this saying and nobody seems to understand it. I say money's not real. I can go buy a Ferrari today and my bank balance will look basically the same. Money isn't real. It's just numbers. It's all fucking invented. It's printed from the sky. It's garbage. You just have to find a way to make people understand your value, and yeah, it can just appear from absolutely nowhere. And I went from completely broke to hundreds of millions of dollars. When I was broke, when I was on a council estate in Luton, I thought everyone was poor. And now that I have money, it kind of feels like everyone's rich. I go to buy a Bugatti and they're like sold out. And it's crazy how many people out there have such ridiculous sums of money. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me believe just simply wasn't true. None of these people are getting these things by following the path that the system is trying to make me follow. And everybody intrinsically knows this. If you're at a BP, you're at a petrol station, and I pull up in my Lamborghini, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. They're like drug dealer. And they do that because they know that the easiest way to amass wealth is to break the rules, because the rules are not designed to allow most people to make money. Most people who follow the path work, consume, die. I knew that just working for money was a paradigm that wasn't true. And then it's certainly easier to make money now than ever before. To make quick, fast money now is almost easier than it's ever been. That has advantages and disadvantages. I was talking to a young guy the other day and he was 22, I think, and he caught a crypto pump. He made like $4 million in the last bull run. I was like, bro, the problem with you is you've now been ruined for life because you're 22, you made easy money, and you think that you don't have to ever do any serious work. Problem is with the crypto pump, it doesn't teach you anything. I think he's in a lot of trouble, truthfully. But in terms of making money, it's certainly easier than it's ever been because we live in a global marketplace now. And all you have to do is have a message worth making people listen to. It's difficult, right? Because anyone can start a YouTube channel, but it's getting the views that's hard. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're getting attention, you'll make money from it. Investing in yourself, especially learning from somebody who is already doing what you want to do, is not risky. The people who believe that's risky are just stuck deep inside the matrix. They're going to pay 60, 70,000 pounds for a degree from university, which is one, completely useless. If I want to go learn piano, I want to see my piano teacher play piano. But people will go to university and learn business from a dude who's never had a business, who's broke. The smartest thing you can do is look at somebody's life and go, this guy is living or he's doing exactly what I want to do. I'll learn from him. They'll give children loans to go to these schools, but you're not allowed to use the loan for anything else. If I were to say to the average 18-year-old, here's 50 grand. You can either start your own business, you can buy crypto, fix your house up or your parents' house up, you can buy a nice car, or you can go get a degree. How many people do you think would choose a degree? Zero. So they link the loan to the degree. As soon as there's fair competition, nobody would choose it because it's such a terrible choice. Total waste of time. And that's why the whole educational system's a scam. If you want to be an architect, if you want to be a lawyer and you have to study law, that's fine. I personally never knew what job I wanted to do. These people seem to be very passionate about a particular trade. I just wanted to have a lot of money. I mean, in my experience, if I didn't have all this money and I had to go get a job again, I'd get a sales job. But I don't know if they even teach sales in university. Yeah, it's all garbage. They don't teach anything important. They just teach anything. They teach things that are going to keep you inside the slave mind. And they want you to go to school and then go to college and then go to university and get in debt. And you have to be in debt so that now you have to work. And then they want you to take on more debt if possible in the form of a mortgage, which a lot of people do, which we can talk about because I know you're the property guy. And once you're in debt, you can't really quit your job and it's very difficult for you to leave the country. And now they can hold things over you. That's the goal. It's all about control mechanisms, and the system is very well designed to make sure that people are conditioned to obey. It's very hard for the average person to say no to anything. Unless you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's very difficult to even have an opinion. I have friends with normal jobs, and they say to me in private, yeah, man, I wish I could talk at work. They can't say anything. HR will wreck them. You're not allowed an opinion. You're not allowed to talk. It's just work, consume, die, shut up, believe what you're told. That's how it is. It's clown world. It's slavery. The average people come to me and say, what do I do? I'm just the average guy. And my only answer is stop being the average guy.
How do you develop an above average income? And the answer is become an above average person. Develop an above average handshake. Develop an above average smile. Develop an above average excitement. Develop an above average intensity to win. See, that'll change everything.
Any man out here who goes, I'm just going to work hard, do my bit, and obey the laws, and I'll have a good life. No, you won't. Just doing your job is never going to make you rich, because you're just going to be taxed into infinity and you're going to stay broke. The matrix can be cracked. You can make a bunch of money, but you need to take responsibility and do it.
For things to change for you, you got to change.
Nobody else is going to wake up and care more about your life than you. If you won't wake up every day and say, I need to get rich, nobody else is going to wake up and say, I need to make him rich. You're the only person on the planet who can think it. And I always knew, I never doubted for a second I would be what I am. I was just like, there's no way that guy in the Ferrari who drove past me is a better person. Maybe he's smarter than me. Fine, I'll work him.
You should feel genuinely worried about wasting a single second, because you can't let the winners keep dunking on you. I've spoken at length about how the world is getting harder and harder. This is easy to observe. Everybody knows it. There are people out there in the world who are going to try hard to change that dynamic because they don't believe they can ever be rich. There are people who are going to sit and say, I don't want the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer because I'm poor. And there's other people who sit and say, I like this challenge. I like that the game is rigged because now if I get rich, I get richer. Winners think, I have no problem with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer because I'm going to be one of the rich ones. Losers think, no, we need to spread it all out. If you accept the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer, then you need to be prepared to do whatever it takes to win the game. Just like a video game. The greater the difficulty, the larger the high score at the end. I mean, you should try every day anyway. But let's assume you're the kind of person who can't try every day because you don't have that grit and consistency. If you're not going to pull your finger out now and finally try in these few days, when are you going to try? When are better chances going to come? Because they're actually right in front of you. This is a huge, important period in your life when it comes to your success and your finances. If you're not going to try now, when are you going to try?
My belief system is very, very simple. It's based on results, right? It's based on competency. The things I believe and the way I view the world and the mindset I've adopted has been created to be the most effective version of a mindset which is going to allow me to perform. It's like the software you install within yourself. I've installed an operating system which allows me to perform at the absolute highest levels. It doesn't matter whether they're trying to cancel me. It doesn't matter whether people are trying to kill me. It doesn't matter when, even the cancellation, right? I don't give a shit about losing my social media, but when you start getting lied about in the media en masse and your family's being threatened and news reporters are calling your ex-girlfriends, offering them bribes to lie about you, and they're trying to get you in serious criminal trouble for things you haven't done, that's a huge level of stress. These people are genuinely fucking demonic. And the mindset I have to deal with all these things is a software I've installed that allows me to deal with huge amounts of pressure, whether it's fighting or anything else. I've always had a very pressure-filled life. And that's why I think the way I think, because it allows me to perform the way I perform. And my performance is obviously doing me very, very well in life. So I would never adopt any other type of mindset. How successful you are in life isn't usually linked to IQ. And it's certainly linked to energy levels. But one of the most important things that's going to determine how successful you are in life is how much stress you can adopt. The more stress you can adopt, the more problems you're solving. 99% of the people watching this stream would collapse under 5% of the daily shit I deal with every single fucking day. You guys have been here. I'm either at the desk, at a meeting, on the phone, dealing with millions and millions of dollars and bullshit that it never ends. And the more stress you can adopt, the more successful you're going to be. And I'm just that guy. And I've been that guy my whole life. I'm that guy that everyone who knows me, all my family, every woman I know, they all come to me with their problems. They throw their shit on top of my shit. I'm just a problem solver. It's just who I've always been. And if you want to be that person, you have to have a certain mindset. And that's what my mindset is. This is what's interesting. It's not even about truth. Not so much of me looking and going, what's true? It's more about me believing in what I need to believe to be as successful as possible. I'm cool under pressure because I've literally had people try and hurt me for a large period of my life. I still have people trying to hurt me today. And it's just the normal operating procedure. It is how it is. I'm indefatigable. I do not give up. I do not get tired. I do not quit. That's what they want. That's what the enemy wants from me. They want to try and win a war of attrition. They want to wear me down and hope I quit and give up and go, oh, I'm not getting any traction now. I don't have YouTube. This is going to be hard, etc. I am not that guy. I'm the guy who keeps going. And if you're truly indefatigable in life and perspicacious, that's my favorite saying, the one I say all the time, unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It's absolutely and utterly true. If you pay attention to the things that are happening around you and you do not quit, you will be a dangerous opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It doesn't matter what you try and do. Cancel me. Fucking cancel me again. It ain't going to change anything. I'm a man who lives true to God and says what he means and means what he says. And I know the things I say are good for society and good for the world. The reason people listen to me is because they like what I say and they know that I'm telling the truth. And I'm going to continue to do that. And there's nothing anybody can fucking do about it. Because in every single battle, there has to be somebody who charges at the front and perhaps takes the most flack. And that's what I'm doing. And everyone's like, why is Tate involved in this battle? Why is he taking so much? Tate has all this money. He could just go on a yacht with a bunch of bitches and run around with a bunch of cars and just have fun. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe this war is coming to absolutely every single one of us. You have two choices as a man. You either realize the truth about reality and understand how the matrix is suppressing you and affecting your mind. You either wake up and you are now in battle against the matrix itself, or you accept the programming. When you accept the programming, the battle doesn't end because now you're in a battle against your own mind. If you believe this they want you to believe, you're unhappy, you're depressed, you're miserable. So you're either fighting against yourself inside of your own mind, living in some semi-depressed state, sitting on the internet, talking complete bullshit in these liberal hate mobs, or you understand the truth about what's happening and you're in the war against the matrix. You can't escape this fight. I'm in this fight. You're in this fight. We're all in this fight. Yeah. The war is here. When the battle turns up at your front fucking door, you can't just cower. Someone has to fight. So yeah, maybe I'm at the front, but I'm also in a unique position to handle that. One, because of the stress. Second, because of the finances. Third, because I'm hard to hurt. So I feel like it's my duty to God. I'm not going to sit here and tell people, listen, accept the bullshit they want you to believe. Stay at home, semi-depressed, take your Adderall, be a little dork, and then the matrix is going to be happy with you, because there's no happiness in that. You're just going to end up in a battle with your own fucking head. You're going to have to fight. To all the men watching this, you are going to fight somebody at some point, either the matrix or your fucking self. Choose. I refuse to turn on myself. Me and every single thing inside of me is on the same team. And when the enemy appears, then it's on. If it's on, it's on. That's the game. And that's what the old emperors wanted. The emperors of today want the same thing. They want eunuchs. They want you to go to work and they want you to pay your taxes, but they don't want you to think for yourself or have any balls or have any true ambition or open your mind or resist slave mind programming. They don't want any of that. And I do, and I know that I could disappear and just down a hole of hedonism. I could disappear into a black hole of degeneracy and not even fight this war. A lot of people don't understand that I don't need to be doing the shit I'm doing. But I also understand that my unique positioning means that it would be disingenuous for me as an individual of honor and integrity to not stand up and fight when I know that I'm in a position to fight when most people can't. Most people can't say the shit I say because they're going to lose their fucking jobs. Yep. I've just been canceled. I still have hundreds of millions of dollars. They can't hurt me on that level. So I feel like I have a genuine duty to do it. And the only alternative at my level of life is endless hedonism. That's the only alternative. And I think a lot of people, especially before they're successful, like the idea of an endless hedonistic life. And let me explain something to the world. Certain things are black holes. Money is a black hole to a degree. If you're going to say, I need money to be happy, it goes up forever. You're going to need a new number every day. You're never going to be happy. You need a higher purpose and a higher vision. And my purpose is to wake people up and make them feel good about themselves. I don't want the whole entire population of the West eunuched and cut. I don't think that's beneficial for the world. So I'm trying to do the absolute opposite. They talk about men's mental health and caring about how men feel and how men think. The fact that I have such a large following and you guys have such a large following shows that our mindset is really not that unique. There's a lot of people who agree with us. And that means that we deserve a voice. And if they truly cared about men's mental health, they'd be trying to propagate us out there in the world and saying, look, these guys have a point of view and maybe people align with their point of view. And that's what they would do if they're genuinely fair and non-tyrannical. But they don't care about men's mental health. They don't give a shit about you. Men, you need to understand that you are the backbone of the slave force. You always have been. You're the men who are going to die in a war. You're the men who are going to build the roads, dig the trenches. Nobody gives a how you feel about it. You're the backbone of the slave force. And they don't give a shit about you doing anything other than using your time and using your energy to advance their civilizations. But the second you have a point of view, you're not allowed to stand up and say it. No, shut the fuck up. Go dig the trench again. Then go home to your sexless wife and your kids who don't care about you. It's truly amazing where we talk about the differences between men and women, but one of the largest differences is the societal view of how a man and woman are. The society looks at men and just thinks of us as workhorses. That's what we are. We always have been. And we still are to this day. And the workhorse isn't allowed to talk. Chicks are allowed to talk. We talk about chicks' mental health all day long. Yeah, poor chicks. And I'm not saying that women don't face struggles, but I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So I can talk about the struggles that men face because those are the struggles that I've lived through. I know them. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the struggles of women. There's plenty of women who already do that. But the second a man stems up and says, no, this is how certain men feel. This is how you fix it. This is how you deal with it. Because that's what I've been saying all along. I've been saying it's very difficult as life as a man. You don't get to just get. So you got to be a G. You got to get out there and you got to make yourself. You got to do it. It's not easy. It's very, very hard. Mm-hmm. I've been telling the truth about these things and they just want to shut me up. They want their eunuchs. They don't want people to strap their balls back on.
Life is not easy. And if you're out here searching for comfort, for happiness, for an easy ride, then you've already lost. You don't get to be respected, admired, or remembered if all you do is exist. There are only two kinds of men in this world. The men who carve their names into history, the conquerors, the kings, the warriors. And then there are the others, the ones whose lives amount to nothing. They die and the world forgets they even existed. See, every single man on this planet has to suffer. You are going to suffer whether you like it or not. The question is, will your suffering make you stronger or will it break you? You can suffer now, put in the work, take the pain, fight through the battles, or you can suffer later, broke, forgotten, with nothing to your name but regret. You need to step up. You need to fight. You need to become someone who matters. Stop thinking happiness is the goal. Happiness is a lie. Do you think warriors marching into battle were happy? Do you think billionaires grinding for years to build their empires were happy every single day? But they were fulfilled. They had a mission. They had a purpose. Your happiness should come from the fact that you are respected, that when you walk into a room, people feel your presence, that when your woman looks at you, she knows no other man can compare. That's real happiness. And right now, most of you are failing. You're failing yourself, you're failing your future, and you're failing your potential. You were not born to be average. You were not born to be invisible. But the only way to rise above the millions of men who are living meaningless lives is to put in the work. And don't think for a second that you can coast by and expect to magically end up successful. You either take it or you don't get it at all. You were raised to believe life would just work out for you. Your parents put food in the fridge and you thought it would always be like that. You thought things would just fall into place. Nothing is going to come to you unless you go out and take it. You need to be the kind of man who refuses to lose. Look at the greatest fighters, the greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest conquerors. Where did they come from? The bottom. They had to fight for everything. They weren't handed success on a silver platter. They bled for it. You have access to knowledge, to money, to people who can guide you, and yet you sit around complaining. You act like life is unfair. You act like you're a victim. You are not a victim. You are weak. Bravery is a muscle, and most of you haven't exercised it in years. When was the last time you made a bold move? You must design your life in a way that forces you to grow. Right now, decide. Are you going to be just another nobody, or are you going to be someone who matters? If you do not leave a mark on this world, you never existed. You have a duty to your ancestors, to your bloodline, to your name. You have a duty to God. You were given life. Now prove you deserve it. No one is going to hand you power. No one is going to knock on your door and say, hey, here's the life you dreamed of. If you want it, you have to go and take it. Most of you are too soft to succeed. You think success is something that just happens to people. You see a guy driving a Lamborghini and you think, oh, he got lucky. You think they stumbled into their success? Let me tell you something. The only thing they stumbled into was hard work and relentlessness. And if you don't act now, you will wake up one day as a failure. If your younger self saw you today, would he respect you? Would he admire you? Or would he be disgusted? Would he see a warrior, a man who takes what he wants? Or would he see a coward who let the world dictate his fate? Every single moment of your life, you are making a choice to stand up and fight, or a choice to sit down and submit. And the world is ruthless. It doesn't care about your feelings. The world only respects power, strength, dominance. Listen, success is simple. You want respect? Earn it. You want power? Take it. You want success? Grind for it. But most of you won't do it. You know why? Because you love comfort too much. The world is a battlefield. Every single day is a war. You're either fighting to take what's yours or you're waiting to be devoured.
Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. It's not fucking hard. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Getting over a breakup with that bitch. She's gone now. I'm going to miss her. That's a shame. Off to the gym. You either control your mind or you don't. It's something you can do. It's something that is learned. It's something that is taught. When men went to Europe and saw unspeakable horrors at the end of World War II, did they all come home and need therapy, or did they all come home and get back to life? Because everyone was taught to have a mind that they control because they needed it to survive. There's no one else. And I'm not saying they didn't see bad things. I'm not saying it's not hard. That's life. Like, I've seen shit. We've all had our trauma. You have to get through it. I believe in love. I believe in men and women being in love. I'm not going to let her take the piss out of me. I'm not going to let her walk over my standards or my boundaries. I'm a man. I love you with all my heart. And I said, you're not going to the club with your girls. I want to go. Then we're over. You overstepped the line. Goodbye. If I let her go to the club with her girls all the time, how long is it until she meets a new dude and cheats on me anyway? So you're going to lose her anyway. So why not lose her as a man, sticking to your fucking guns instead of losing her 7 months later behind your back? But people are so scared of the emotions. That's all it is. No one's going to shoot them in the head. They're scared of the emotions of missing her. You're scared of emotions to the point you let a bitch run your fucking life? And this is the world we're in today.
Well, I'm going to sit here and once again explain to you how different the world is when you have a mind which isn't warped and affected easily by outside influences. This has nothing to do with not feeling emotions. This has nothing to do with just becoming an empty, emotionless void of a person. That's not what this is. This is about understanding that you're a human being, you're going to feel emotions, and making sure that you use them in the correct way. And B, you do not ever let them stop you doing what you're supposed to do. I say to people often, I haven't felt like going to the gym in 2 years. I have not woke up and felt like, oh, I really want to train. I haven't felt that way in a long time. That's why I retired from fighting. But I have still gone and I have still trained regardless of how I feel. The idea that you need to be constantly motivated shows how weak your mindset is. I don't need motivation to go to the gym because I use my cerebral ability. I use my mind and I logically decide what I'm going to do with my day regardless of how I feel. Life is just getting things done, doing the right things, doing the important things, making sure they're done efficiently and thoroughly so that you live the best possible life. It's as simple as that. It's not particularly complicated. Because if you have a mindset that doesn't allow you to fail, then you're simply going to win. There's no other option. I don't believe that you need motivation to get things done. I'm not going to sit here and just talk a whole bunch of motivational things to make you feel good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the things I always did that allowed me to put together the mindset I currently have. If you look at any story with a hero in it, they all have one thing in common. And that thing is that there's always a villain. Any book you can think of, any movie, there's always a good guy and there's a bad guy. As a man, life is going to be difficult. It's more difficult than being a woman. It's more difficult than anything else. Life is actually easier as a whole if you see yourself as a hero. Because in every single hero story, the hero suffers. And if you understand that you're suffering because you're a hero, then the suffering begins to make sense. You've seen the Batman movies. His parents died. He was locked up in jail. All these bad things happen, and then they emerge as the hero. So right now, you have to understand that you're the hero in this movie, and how you handle these struggles and how you deal with these struggles are going to decide the kind of person you're going to be afterwards. You're either going to be a superhero or you're going to succumb to them and you're going to fail. The second thing is there has to be a villain. Now, most people think their villain is someone else. People look at other people and say, oh, that guy has this guy has this, and they become envious and they think that's the villain. That's not the case because every single person has different circumstances. There are things you have that I don't have, and there's things I have that you don't have. So comparing yourself to other people is asinine, and it's inane because it's not a level, fair playing ground. Your villain is someone you're going to create. And you're going to create your villain because he's going to motivate you to be the most powerful hero you can possibly be. Your villain is going to be a clone of you. And your villain is going to be the person without requirement for motivation. No matter how he feels that day, your villain is going to be the guy who always does exactly what he wants to do. Regardless of how he feels, regardless if he's not motivated or not, regardless if he's shy to talk to that girl or people are watching or his ankle hurts, he doesn't want to go to the gym, your villain is that dude who does anything he wants to do. You'd sit there and say, if I did everything I want to do, if I were to be the best version of myself possible, what would I do? Okay, well, I'd go to the gym every day. I'd get up at 6 a.m. and I'd go to the gym every day. You write that down. I'd start a side business. Even though I don't know anything about it, I'd learn how to make websites. My villain is the kind of guy who reads really important books. I say I don't have time, but my enemy, this villain, he reads books. He finds time. He doesn't waste time ever. He doesn't eat junk food. He reads books. You have to make a list. This is who you're battling against. You're battling against a better version of yourself, a version of yourself that doesn't succumb to how he feels, but does what he's supposed to do anyway. You have to imagine what he looks like, imagine how he walks, imagine how he talks, imagine what people think when they see him. Imagine how differently people would look at you, imagine how differently females would treat you if you were jacked like that guy would be. So you have to put genuine effort into constructing this person and understanding this person. This is what motivates me every single day. When I understood who I was truly battling against, then you have two choices. You either rise up to try and take him on or you become a little pussy. This man I've created and I've built, do I want to lose to him or do I want to beat him or compete with him? And the crazy thing about all of this person is you. It's just you with a little bit of a different path or a different take on life. It's you who's the person who does whatever he's supposed to do regardless of how he feels. It's you with an iron mind. And when you truly, truly put this person together and you truly, truly understand him, you're going to become far more difficult to demotivate. It's going to be much harder for someone to say to you, don't go to the gym, because you're going to know this dude's going to the gym. That's why he looks how he looks. And that's who I'm being compared to. I'm not the guy who's going to let this man beat me. I still do it to this day. I compare my bank balance to this guy's and he's killing me. I compare my body to this guy's, he's killing me. You guys may look at me and go, oh, Tate, millionaire, girls, this, that. I'm still comparing myself to this person I've created. And I know that I'm losing. That's how I do whatever it takes to succeed because I know who I'm battling against. Most of you guys have no enemy. Or you have an enemy which is somebody else. That's pointless. Or you have no enemy at all. You have a support structure around you and you have people saying, oh, you're great just the way you are. You know, you're beautiful just the way you are. And you're sitting there and living in your little comfort zone like a little bitch. Your enemy is the version of you which doesn't take shit. Your enemy is the version of you which goes to the gym every single day. And if you've done this correctly, then what you should be doing by now is thinking of him permanently. He should be crossing your mind with every single thing you do. And this is why it's important to develop an ego. Egos are extremely important. Egos are a natural human thing and they're extremely important. And the modern world tells men to not have an ego. And they do that because it makes you weak and easy to control. You can only have an iron mind if you are so sure of yourself, so egotistical that nobody can break it. Now, for the first lesson, we built your enemy, and we built this perfect person you're going to be battling against. And there's a very specific reason we did it based on a version of you. One, because it shows who you could be. But the other reason is also because if your ego is based around beating this person, you get to go through life and be a nice guy to everyone else. I'm a nice guy to everyone I meet, because they're not my enemy. But I do have a massive ego. But my ego comes into play when I'm fighting against my enemy. And this person is who you could be. That's what's the most annoying thing about it. This person's outlifting you in the gym. They're making more money. They're fucking their wife better. They got more girls. They're rolling around a nicer car. This could be you, but it's not you. Only because you don't have the motivation to do what this individual does. Most people's egos work against them. And the way it works against them is they feel entitled. They wake up and they think, oh, I deserve a nice car. I'm a special person. I deserve a nice car. That is not the right way to use an ego. So this person who you've built, your enemy, he has a nice car because he has worked harder than you have. Whose fault is that? There should be no reason, no excuse for you to not do everything that you believe you need to do to be the best person you can be if you've properly created this enemy. And your ego should stop you from wanting to lose. Otherwise, day after day after day, you are losing to this individual. This individual is beating you. You can't let that happen. Your ego is extremely important. And you only have one person you're competing against. And it's the person you created, which is nothing more than a better version of yourself. The fact that you can still sit and watch TV means you need to go back to the first video and start again. And do it properly. And do it well enough so that you can no longer sit still. You need to get your shit together. And if you do that properly, you'll start to feel nervous. You'll imagine the version of you that is as amazing as they could be. And then you look at yourself and realize that you're failing. Now, when you feel anxious, there's only one thing you can do. You can either sit there and be anxious like a little girl, or you can put some things in action. I was nervous before every single fight, and that's when I fought the best. I was afraid of losing. And you need to be afraid of losing day by day throughout your life. Now, if you go to the gym and you beat your personal best, let's say the most you've ever benched is 100 kilo. You go there, you bench 105 kilo. That's the only day you're allowed to claim a victory. But if you're not beating your personal best, he is beating you. And that should inspire you to try and smash through your own records day after day after day. The most money you've ever made in a month. The most weight you've ever lifted. It doesn't matter what goals you set. You have to understand that you're going to spend a lot of time losing. And all this time you're spending losing is going to damage your ego, and that's going to make you anxious and unhappy and nervous, and you're going to put all that nervous energy into smashing your personal records so you have those days of victory. Everything compounds. People say to me, oh, Tate, how did you become successful? I can't tell you the one thing that made me successful. I was always driven, motivated. I understood how to make good connections. I looked after the people who looked after me. I always knew what the right thing to do was. I didn't drink for many years of my life. And it all comes together to success. It's not about one thing. A lot of people go through life with a very average attitude to life, and they wait for their one big break. If you're hoping for a big break, you may as well just keep buying the lottery tickets. It's a change of mindset that's going to allow you to put together 1,000 tiny victories. And the change of mindset is simply understanding that there's a version of you that exists somewhere in the multiverse, which is much better than you are right now. Purely because they don't get lazy, don't watch TV, don't waste their time. They have an iron mind.
I do not believe in things that take away power from me. I only believe in things that make me more powerful as an individual. Now, I cannot deny that feeling depressed is real because every single human on the planet sometimes feels depressed. Feeling depressed is real, but being a depressive is something else. I accept that if I do feel depressed or I do feel sad or I do feel negative, which is actually very rare for me, but if it does ever happen, I understand I'm human and it's an emotion I'm going through and it will pass. People who have depression believe that they have a disease that can't be fixed and can't be cured. You're giving your power to an outside source and you're saying that I have no control over this. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. You need to at least believe you have some degree of control. When I say depression isn't real, I'm not saying you don't feel depressed. I'm saying that you can fix it. It's not a disease that you caught from the sky. You can fix it by taking control of your own mind. Listen, I'll tell you right now, I don't know how to fly a plane. But if I was in a plane and it was crashing and I was sitting in the pilot's chair, I would still hold on to the fucking gear stick or joystick or whatever it's called. Even though I don't know what I'm doing, I try and get some control over the scenario. I'm not going to give up and put my hands in the air and crash into a mountain. I would try and do something. I'm not the guy who relinquishes all his control to outside forces. I believe I have a lot of control and power within myself. So when I speak to depressed people and they sit there and say, no, you don't understand, I have depression, you are one, hypnotizing yourself to believe you have it. Two, giving a bunch of power to this outside source instead of believing the power inside of yourself. And three, not just being realistic enough to know that I feel a certain way and I feel this way because of my life circumstances. And if I change my life circumstances, perhaps my mindset might change. The worst things on the planet could happen to me. I refuse to be a depressed person. I may feel depressed for a day, or I may feel depressive for a few hours, but I will never be a depressed person. I'm not the guy who walks with his fucking head down. I'm the guy who walks with my shoulders back and my chin up high. That's who I am as an individual, and I absolutely not refuse to change. And I cannot catch depression. All these people out here saying that depression is a disease, I can't fucking catch it. They're trying to attack me with everything they can. I can't catch depression. It's never happened, never fucking will. And I stand by that. Another thing that's really important, I say this all the time, nearly every word that comes out of my mouth is self-hypnosis. And it's the same for everybody watching this. Every single word you speak is self-hypnosis. Every single thing you say out of your own mouth is almost more important than the things you hear from other people. You can't be sitting there saying, I'm depressed. I got a generational curse. I'm unlucky, bro. You can't be saying these things because you're reaffirming them within your mind. And as many people are going to sit there and say, Tate, you're delusional, you're a narcissist. You go through the world saying you're super lucky and that you can do all these crazy things. It's impossible for you to be depressed. You're a narcissist. Perhaps. Look at my life and look at yours. Who came from a worse scenario at the start? Who had a worse background? Me. Who's now more successful? Me. Who's happier? Me. Who smiles more? Me. Who sleeps easy at night? Me. Why would I want to think like you? Why would I want to adopt your thinking and be a sad fucking sack of shit sitting on the internet trying to cancel people like a dork? I don't want to be my enemies. There's not a single enemy I have that I'm remotely envious of in any regard. Every single one of them has a life and a existence. I already won. God's already punished them. I know these things. I'm the luckiest man on the planet. You have to say these things and you have to truly believe them. When you're hungry, it's your body telling you need to eat some food. That's fine. You react to that. When you're depressed, your body's telling you need to change your life. And if you're feeling that for long periods of time and then not changing your life, well, you don't deserve to be happy. Everything in life that is valuable must be earned. Peace of mind must be earned. Happiness must be earned. I'm happy because I earn it. I get to be top G. Of course I'm fucking happy. I'm me. When I look at the lives of people who tell me they're depressed, I look at them and think, you know what? If I was you, I'd be fucking depressed. So of course you're depressed because your life is but whose fault is that? You have to take some personal responsibility for it. And what they'll do is they'll try and outsource it. Well, I had a bad star, or this happened to me, that happened to me. World ain't fair. Suck it up, buttercup. Happens to everybody. I could sit here and be an unsuccessful piece of shit, and I got 10 stories to tell you why I have excuses to do exactly that. And here I am, top G. That's life. You have to get done. So yeah, if you live a depressive life, you're going to feel depressed. If you lived my life, you wouldn't feel depressed. So now you know what to fucking do. Now you're either going to get up and do it, or you're going to sit there and stay depressed. And that's why these people are so desperate to defend the idea that depression can't be solved. What you're doing is absolving yourself from all responsibility. I no longer have to stand up and work hard and try and be something because it doesn't matter how hard I work because I'll be depressed anyway. They know that's a lie. They're just trying to they're being ignorant on purpose to avoid doing the hard work. That's all it really is. Happiness is the number one thing that must be earned. And I'll tell you that my happiness is based on very real world achievements. I couldn't be happy if I was broke. I couldn't be happy if I was obese. I couldn't be happy if I was lonely. I couldn't be happy if I wasn't respected. I couldn't be happy if I couldn't whoop a dude's ass. I couldn't be happy in those scenarios. So I made sure none of them scenarios came true. I have earned my happiness via hard work. It's the top of a mountain, which I have climbed. I deserve it. I deserve to go to sleep with a smile on my fucking face and wake up. And every single guy who hasn't got it probably doesn't deserve it. People seem to think that the world is unfair. And those are all the same people who tell themselves they're unlucky. I actually believe the opposite. I believe the universe is a very giving place. I believe God is a very giving being. And that the world, all in all, generally balances out and is pretty fair. If you're the kind of person who deserves a good life and works their ass off and genuinely wants it and tries very hard, guess what you get 99% of the time? A good life. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't really deserve it, slacks 3 days a week, talks behind people's back, blah, 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 guess what? Your life ain't all that good. The universe is pretty fair and pretty balanced. I've yet to meet somebody who gets up every day, does what they're supposed to do, works hard, goes to the gym, then goes to work, does their best, makes their money, looks after it, is sensible, doesn't blow it, et cetera, who then fails. I've never met anybody who fails when they do all the right thing. There are very few exceptions to that. So when I see somebody who doesn't have the success they want, especially when I see, let's say, a group of people who don't have the success they want, there's no way you're all exceptions to that rule. You may want something, but you certainly don't deserve it. When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor. You can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I think I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? It's also the basic of economics. I think a lot of people don't understand the true basics of economics, and the basics of economics state that even giving money to the poor, it ends up back in the hands of the rich. There's no way to stop the rich getting richer. I've already explained this before. I remember during COVID when they did the stimulus checks and they passed out all this free money to everyone, $1,000. In England, they gave a lot more money, but in America, everyone got like $1,400 each and everyone was happy about it, saying, oh, he's giving money to the poor. Yeah, but what do those poor people spend that money on? Well, Amazon stock tripled. Bezos got richer, right? But the fact is that there's less companies than there are people. All those $1,400 checks amongst all those people at the bottom ended up in the hands of a few companies, and the rich got richer, and you can't stop it. Doesn't matter if those people invested their money, doesn't matter if they bought stocks, doesn't matter if they bought a crypto, doesn't matter if they bought a house, whatever. The people who have the assets and have the companies and have the control are always going to end up getting control of the currency, and they're always going to be richer. So that's kind of how it works. And it's getting worse and worse. You have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunity. It's like in chess, they say, good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. But once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. It doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right.
I'd love to go gym. I just need motivation. Motivation isn't real. I don't feel motivated. I just have to do it, so I do it. Discipline is real. There's no such thing as motivation. You're never motivated at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. It's cold. You're either a pussy or you're not. And we talk about 700,000 dead men. And the sad thing is that most of these men are probably braver, more motivated, and more capable than the dipshits watching this fucking podcast, sitting around on their ass, chasing bitches on Instagram who are too good for them. And they're going to sit there while all these fucking good men die, telling me they're sad and not motivated, and they don't know how to fucking achieve anything in their lives. Genuinely scumbag. If someone comes up to me and goes, oh, I'm not motivated, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I look at them and think, you're a fucking scumbag. What the fuck you talking about depressed? You're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. Of course she left you. I hate you. I just met you. I didn't fucking like you. There are people dying in a fucking ditch, bro.
It's true.
You're dying in a fucking ditch, and what do? You're sad about what? You ain't found the time to go to the gym. Why? You haven't worked on anything. You haven't dedicated yourself to anything. Why? Oh, I just don't feel like it. Well, you're a piece of shit. It's ungrateful to the universe. It's ungrateful to God himself to waste what he gives you. You want to talk about how you end up lucky. And I would argue that I'm a very lucky person. You know, on a long enough time frame, I can't think of a single time I've ever lost. It may look like I'm going to lose, but in the end, I always seem to win.
You're not a quitter at all.
Bro, I'm not a quitter. I'm a fucking fighter. I will squirm to the last second. You may try and strangle me. I am fighting to the last second. Think about this. I spent 3 years locked in my house in a questionable judicial system under a full media matrix attack and beat it. Who else can combat the mainstream media, the Romanian judicial system from their house with no money, all assets seized? 2 weeks ago, I was locked in a room. Everyone said I was toast. 4 criminal cases looking at 25 years in an Eastern European gulag. Bam, I'm in Miami. How do you do this? How does this happen? Yeah, it takes hard work. It also takes a degree of luck. Where does the luck come from? It comes from God. Who does God favor? What makes God like you? God likes you when you try. There's nothing that's going to piss God off more than wasting what he fucking gives you. If you give someone a Ferrari and they look after it perfectly, you're happy. If you give someone a Ferrari and see it the next day, it's got cigarette butts, it's treated like shit. Would you be happy you gave him a Ferrari? God gave you a consciousness. He gave you a body. He gave you a mind, and you're not even fucking using it. You're crying over that bitch who left you.
You're not using it to be the best version of yourself. You're not using it to get as rich and powerful as possible. You're not using it to change the world. You're not using it to protect those you love. You're not using it for anything. And you expect God to make you lucky? God only has so much luck to give out. Wouldn't he give it to his soldiers who dedicate themselves and try? Wouldn't he think, you know what, that Tate motherfucker, he's been through something and he will not quit and he will not stop and he's never said he doesn't deserve it. He's never bitched. He's never moaned. He's never felt sorry for himself. He's never complained. He got up every day and worked. Let's give him some luck. What about this guy? Always crying, always has a problem, always feels sorry for himself, always needs motivation, never gets anything done. Everything's everyone else's fault. Does he deserve any of the luck I have in my pocket? The answer is fucking no. You make your own luck by dedicating yourself to the universe. I said this before. I said it in a rain dancing term. Rain dancing. I said, if you need it to rain and your life depends on it, you should do a rain dance. Now, do rain dances make clouds come? No. But perhaps, by some strange twist of fate, far in the distance, another tribe will see you rain dancing and realize you need water. And they'll think, he needs water. And we need something he has. And they'll bring you water. If you didn't rain dance and just sat there waiting for it to rain, the water would have never come. There's no such thing as working too hard. You'd be amazed how if you just do work, how amazing things happen. I said this to Tristan when we were in jail. I said, there is a certain number of push-ups I will complete before I get out of this cell. I don't know how many it is, but the more push-ups I do and the quicker I do them, the quicker I'll get out of here. The logic,
really?
Yeah, the logic being that it doesn't matter. Let's make it simple math. I will do push-ups every day and eventually I'll be released. And that will be the total number of push-ups I had done that got me released from jail. That's what I believed. So I sat there and thought, okay, there's a certain finite number of push-ups that I will complete while I am in jail. So the faster I do push-ups, the more push-ups I do, the sooner I'll be out. That may be a logic fail to most people. Most people will sit there and they won't quite understand it. My mentality was, if I just do as many push-ups as possible, I'll get out of here quicker. Even if I didn't get out any quicker, I used my time more effectively. I came out like a fucking monster, like a beast. I had no gym equipment, nothing. I just had thousands of push-ups a day, every single day. And I kept my mind strong. So I came out without mental damage so I could deal with the mainstream media storm. I truthfully understand why the banking cartels and why the hidden interests and shadow groups have no respect for human life. Because I will tell you, as a man who was poor, and I mean filthy poor, complete broke, 15 years ago. Now, me as a successful man, when I see the average man not trying, I feel fucking distaste. And I remember being broke. I was broke not too long ago. Imagine you're born into a banking dynasty and all you've ever known is wealth and power. And your father, all he's ever known is wealth and power. And then you see the average man sitting around talking about being depressed and sad. You think you give a fuck about these people? You think they give a shit about locking you in your house during COVID, or sending you to die in a fucking ditch, or inflating your currency, or lying to you, or stealing your money via US aid? You're nothing but fucking sheep to these people. And I don't blame them, because most of you act like such fucking dipshits. You deserve exactly what you're getting. You deserve exactly what you're getting, Canada. You deserve Trudeau, who's a fucking moron, and you're letting him stay there. And now Trudeau is going to go to a fucking prosecutor and tell him to raise charges on me for telling you the truth. But I don't give a fuck, because I'd rather live this way than live like you people in a fucking cloud of cowardice. I can't live that way. I feel dirty if I'm a coward. So I'm going to say exactly what I fucking think all of the time. And I'm going to do that to the day I die. Then it'll be 700,001 men dead. But at least my name will be remembered. Because this is the most important thing. We're all going to fucking die. And you can die one way or another. You either die as a number or you die as a name. 700,000 men died. And I guarantee you, if you ask the Ukrainians or the Russians who they are, they can name maybe 30 of them. The commanders, the special forces, the decorated soldiers. The rest of them, nobody's. You can die as a name that's remembered. George Washington's a name. Napoleon's a name. Or you can die as a number, a fucking statistic, but you're going to die anyway. So what are you so scared of? 700,000 men have died in that war. Absolutely disgusting. Not only that it happened, but that the average American man will sit around on his ass and achieve nothing, knowing that they could have just been born in another place. The second that war started, Ukraine closed its borders to men. They weren't allowed to leave. You could have been born in another place, and instead of sitting around crying over a bitch and jerking off the fucking Pornhub, you'd be getting your leg blown off in a fucking ditch. And you're not even thankful to God for that enough to try.
Brad was just saying is super important. I think that if you look at any man who's very good at being a man, most of them have had extremely traumatic lives. Yeah. If you're going to talk about the most brave man you can think of, he's been through trauma. If you think of the best soldier you can think of, he's been through trauma. You think about anything, the man who's going to charge into the burning building, the fireman, he's been through trauma. If you find a man who's never had any traumatic experiences, he's terrible at being a man. Yeah. He's weak and he's soft and he'll collapse and he's never struggled. I know me, and I don't want to tell a bunch of stories on the internet, but I know all the I went through and all the pain I had to suffer to become the man I am. And every time I meet another guy who has his life in order, it's the same story. Just me up, but I thought, okay, I'm going to attack the world anyway. Yeah. And that's how it goes. So as a man, you're right. You're right. You have to be vulnerable. You have to feel it. You have to accept it, but you have to put it in a positive direction. This is what's so dangerous about what we were saying earlier, where people make excuses and externalize because they're taking that trauma and that pain instead of going, I f***ed up. She left me because I wasn't good enough. I'm going to become better. Instead, she is the problem. Yeah, like it's there. And then they lose their ability to go and become something. They lose their own motivational force. And then they sit there with a fucking ego and arrogance and go, I don't need to become any better. I can stay a jackass. It's all her fault. I'll find another one. And then it happens on repeat. And it just ends up a downward cycle. My entire life, I've always woken up thinking or feeling like I had an enemy to fight against. As long as I can remember, I've always had. I was a professional chess player when I was a kid. So when I was 4, I woke up and my dad was sitting there saying, you're playing this Chinese kid. He's good. Right. So I always had that. Then I had professional fighting. I had 87 fights. So my whole life I had some fight coming up. And now I wake up and the Matrix is attacking me. So I've always woken up feeling like I had an enemy. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly shaped my reality. It definitely shapes how I act and shapes how I think. I've always felt like I was in war, if that makes sense.
Have you ever felt like you were your own worst enemy?
No, in fact, quite the opposite. I've had a healthy fear and respect for all of my enemies to the point where I've understood the only chance I stand to beat them is to have as many allies as possible. And the most important ally is my own mind. Yeah. I have enough people who dislike me that I don't have the luxury of doubting myself. So even at the height of the cancellation, right, when they were coming at me with everything, and I haven't even told you some of the stuff they come at me with, I'm about to tell you, and it's a lot more scary than getting deleted from Instagram. Sure. When they were coming at me, absolutely, even the people close to me are going, you're dealing with this well. And I was like, I have now innumerable shadow figures trying to destroy me. If my brain betrays me, I'm really right? Yeah. Like I can't go down that path. So no, it's actually completely the utter opposite. I've galvanized myself against internal enemies. Me and every single part of me is all on the same team. And it always will be. And I think that's because, like I said, my whole life I was battling against something and someone else. We live in a very, very hateful world. And I think love comes from a position of strength. I think you always have to be a strong person to love. I think you have to be an intelligent person to love, which is why stupid people are so hateful. And you have to work on yourself. And I think you have to become strong in your body and mind to love things. It's not easy to love things and people when they do you wrong. It's not easy to love a woman again after your last one did whatever. Yeah. It's not easy to do it. You have to be a strong individual. And that's why I think love comes from strength, which is why I always say strength is so important mentally and physically. I say that all the time. It's all I talk about. I say that if you're a man, the easiest way to improve your life in every single possible way is to just work on your physical strength, and your mental strength will follow, and you become a better person you can love. You know this yourself. Look at the size of you, right? You go in the gym, it's the biggest guys that are the nicest guys. True or false?
True.
Because they don't have this ego. It's the same. If you walk in a fighter gym, the most deadly dude in there is going to be a nice guy. Completely. And you can't pour from an empty cup. And before you give love to anybody else, you have to truly love yourself. And I think the easiest way to love yourself as a man is to be proud of yourself. And to be proud of yourself, you have to decide who you want to be inside of the metaverse, inside of the matrix. You have to decide the character you want to be and try your best to achieve it.
Why do you?
I think because they know they're failing. I think that most people failing in life know very well they're failing. And it doesn't matter what avatar you decide to absorb or who you decide to be. You can decide to be it, and you know true in your heart if you're giving 100% of your energy towards becoming it or not. It doesn't matter if you want to become a famous musician. Doesn't matter if you want to become a bodybuilder. Doesn't matter if you want to become a pro fighter. Doesn't matter what you want to be. You know in your heart if you're actually trying or not. You have to decide what you want to be and try and become it. And a lot of the people who are genuinely unhappy or miserable in their hearts know they're not trying that hard. This is why, when girls have those loser dudes who are like saying, I love you so much, I love you. And the girl doesn't give a shit that the loser dude's telling her that he loves her. Why is that? Because the female is smart enough to understand on an intrinsic level that as a man, if you have no capability to give her things, if you have no competence, if you have no skills or use case, that your love is completely useless. It's like if you have a brother beside you who says he loves you with all his heart, but he's a complete pussy and he can't fight and you get attacked, what's his love worth? Yeah. What's his love worth? Mm-hmm. So as a man, if you want to say, I love my wife, I love my children, I love my friends, I love the world, you can only have a love that is valuable if you're competent and you're capable. And you're only going to have that if you suffer. So if you want to have the ability to love other people, if I want to be a person who can wake up and realize I truly love my children, I truly love my woman, then the only way I can do that is to suffer enough to be a man whose love has value. If I wake up and say I truly love the people I care about, but I want to be happy, so I'm going to go and sit in the field and take mushrooms and be a dumbass, well, then my love is completely valueless, because when they call me and say, there's a problem, Andrew, you love me, fix it, I'm going to say I can't. And men are nothing but success objects. We are valued by what we can do. We are competency objects. Females are sex objects. Men are, what can he do? What is he good at? That's all we're measured on, is our capability. I think happiness is the easiest way to destroy your own capability, because you're too busy doing dumb shit. So when you ask me that question, the reason I gave such a long answer is because how happy I am doesn't cross my fucking mind. I wake up and I have things to do. I have bills to pay. There's millions to make. I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to go home, and then I need to train, and I have a whole bunch of other stuff to do. Then I have to fix everybody else's problems. Then I got to talk to my children. Everyone's life is great but mine. Mine's been long, stressful, and busy. And I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do it again. There's no time for me to be happy in any of this equation ever. And if I choose happiness, if I decide to be happy, then I can't love the people I love properly, because then I become useless.
So how do you find happiness? Happiness is in struggle. The struggle and the size of the struggle you're facing, along with how important it is and how important you feel it is deep in your heart, is directly correlated to how successful and how happy you're going to feel all of the time. Struggle is extremely important for a man. You should be looking to inject struggle into your life permanently. We talked about this in the past emergency meeting, because if you're injecting struggle and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple, basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, having debates, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her, make sure that your people who you love are taken care of. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well, because the distance between pain and joy is what we experience. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need drugs. You don't need alcohol. You don't need parties or festivals. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. Every time you look at something which is fun, it's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Next time you think of what is fun and someone goes, guys, come, it'll be fun. Sit there, go, wait. Will it? Experiences are unique. Jail was a unique experience. Bunch of fun. Unique. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. Now, there are some things that are fun which can be earned. And there are some things which are fun that you could do, which perhaps involve skill. Driving a supercar around a racetrack is fun. It involves skill. You have to be good at what you do. Cool. But a lot of this fun that is easily accessible to everyone, because not everybody can get a Ferrari on a closed racetrack. I can. You can't, because you're poor. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need hard work. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. You need duty. You need obligations. And you need performance metrics. You need people around you who are going to hold you accountable. You don't need to be waking up thinking about fun. You're nobodies. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. You're obsessed with this idea of fun. Hey, what are we going to do this weekend? We need to have some fun. Do you? Do you need fun? Do you deserve it? Really? Have you actually gone out there in the universe and made a mark large enough that you're allowed some time off to have some fun? You don't deserve any fun. You don't need any fun. You have work to do. Your obsession with fun is holding you back. These things you think are fun aren't fun.
Checking your bank balance in your house, not going out, you're not in the club, and seeing $20 million liquid is very fun.
That's right.
Much more fun than anything you could possibly ever do. So, although it wasn't fun to sit around and accumulate that kind of wealth, it's the funnest thing in the universe, in a way.
For a man, your contentment will come from your purpose, and it will come from your competence, and it will come from succeeding objectives. It will come from completing difficult things that other people cannot complete. It will never come from the easily accessible hedonism, which you have confused for fun. If everybody can do it,
You shouldn't want to do it. If everybody can go to that concert, you shouldn't want to go. If everybody can go to that club, you shouldn't want to go. But you should only want to do things others can't do. The only fun I have is doing things I know you're not allowed to do. Putting my Bugatti on an A380 and flying it around the world to a racetrack, which I've rented out for only me and only my friends to race around cars. You can't do that. I can. That is fun. But if you say to me, Andrew, come to this party, and I say, well, who's there? Everyone. Oh, everyone's there. Does that mean I need to go? Right? It's the event of the century. Ooh, everyone's there. If everyone's there, it's trash. So you need to sit there and go, all right, I'm being asked to do something fun. Who else can do this? And if the answer is everybody, stop. I clear my emails. I've trained hard that day. I've made a couple $1 million. I've spec'd a brand new car. I've checked on all the people I love, all the people I care about. I've donated some money to charity. My children are fed. Their mothers are taken care of. Everything is in order. Everything is in its proper place. That is fun. If you say to me, Andrew, skip a portion of that organization and professionalism so that we can go and do something that everyone else can do, my answer will be no. That does not sound fun to me. And the fact that you think that's fun shows that you have a severe mental deficiency. Okay. Stay away from it. You're only going to find actual fun through purpose, and you're only going to find purpose through exceptionalism. So you need to become the best possible version of yourself in all realms. That's extremely important. The reason you are so unhappy is because you are trying to have fun. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. They are very different things, and you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine.
And being important is fun.
Oh, it's absolutely fun. Please imagine, and I don't state this with arrogance, please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet, and you're a kickboxing world champion, and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that, and nothing can beat that. As a man, you need to have struggle in your life. And I want you guys to actually sit and think, what struggle are you going through daily? What struggle are you undertaking? What struggle are you trying to overcome? Because you should make a list of them. I can know for myself, every single day I wake up and I train physically. Every single day I have to go through X amount of physical pain when my day begins. That is a struggle that must be completed. Then I must try and keep my massive empire online, see my children, take care of everybody. There's struggle involved. My life is difficult. Difficult lives are fulfilling because we used to have to hunt and fish and go out there and go through difficulty to survive. And I often see that when I speak to people who are too
comfortable,
they end up being unhappy.
Yeah.
You can't entertain yourself to happiness. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, creative, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a mathematical equation. You solve the equation, you get a Bitcoin. Life is very much the same. There's struggles, there's difficulties which you have undertaken, which you have adopted to try and complete. And when you finish those things, then you get satisfaction as a reward. That's the Bitcoin. The only other alternative to that to feel good is hedonism, which is drugs and alcohol. And that's not going to satisfy you for very long. And it's also going to destroy your life. So it's extremely important. This is actually why people are addicted to video games. Young men are addicted to video games because it mimics virtually what they ought to be doing in the real world.
Yeah.
Effort in to upgrade their character, to become a better version of themselves so they can do better things than they could previously do and explore new areas of the map. The areas of the map, which are Bugatti convention, flying there on a private jet to sit with billionaires.
The Grand Casino Monaco is a cool area of the map that you have not unlocked yet, but it's great.
Which requires you to upgrade your character as a person. You understand this in video games, and you do it in video games because it's very interesting to do. However, you don't want to do it in the real world. But in the real world, it's so much more rewarding. And I actually going to argue that we're living in one of the final periods where that's true. I'd say in a few generations, who you are and who your physical body is may not matter nearly as much.
No, but it does matter today. A lot.
Exactly. So that's why you should enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
So you need to pick the low-hanging fruit first. And the starting block to all of these things is your body. I believe you lift, stretch, move, improve your body, try and train MMA, learn how to fight, get stronger, get bigger muscles. It's a fast track to self-discipline, which will carry over into all other endeavors. And I would argue that is nearly impossible. In fact, how many people can say the gym saved their life? How many people do you know were depressed, started training, got in fantastic shape, and weren't depressed anymore? It is very easy. The low-hanging fruit is your body and upgrading your body. That is the easiest struggle, which is never going to backfire on you and never going to be a negative towards
any other facet of your life. And when I look at men who are physical specimens, I think everyone naturally does this, but I'm going to openly say it. I respect them differently than I look at men who aren't. I have a different level of respect for them because they show me they have discipline. They show me they have motivation. They show me they're capable of doing difficult and hard things. Those are the kind of people I trust. They're not afraid of struggle. They're problem solvers. People who train are problem solvers, and you need to become one, and you need to become very, very adept at solving problems pretty quickly. I actually find it amazing that there's people out there who aren't in perfect physical condition. Guys, let me tell you all a news flash. If you eat right and you train hard, you look good.
Yeah.
It's like a biological certainty. It's almost impossible to be fat and look bad if you eat right and train hard. Your body will react and give you exactly what you want. So why don't you all look like superheroes? Do you not understand how intimidating that is just when they look at a group of people and they all look like superheroes and they can tell they're all disciplined, all hardworking, all dedicated, all physically strong? The struggle is what's beautiful about it. That's the most important thing. That's what you have to understand.
Yeah, because no matter how rich you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter what family you're born into, you can only get into shape the same way as everybody else. So you could be Mark Zuckerberg, who's now in shape and he's a billionaire, but you can't say, oh, he bought it. He didn't buy it. He's just in great shape because he earned it like everyone else. You could be flat broke or rich as fuck. If you're in good shape, you had to earn it. It's as simple as that. So yeah, it says a lot about who you are as a person.
First, you want to become as strong as physically possible. So you want to be as strong as physically possible. Next, you want to try and make as much money as possible. Not even necessarily for the money, although money is extremely important because it allows you to take care of yourself. We talked about this before, but there's a challenge involved, and solving that challenge is going to make you feel more satisfied as a human. Happiness comes from success, and making money is success. You should try and make people around you smile and be happy. You should try and encourage positivity around you. You should be the kind of person that no one can really complain about their struggles around because they know that you're the person who's going to be like, why are you complaining?